Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Hey guys, Jim here, and it's Terzuola time. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at another brand new offering from Bob Terzuola, and now, for the first time ever, I can say, an unbelievably affordable Bob Terzuola design. This is kind of nutty, actually. This is the brand new upcoming ATCF Lite. I was really surprised when I first saw these, when they popped up on Bob's Instagram, and he had a round robin of all these different colors and of different G10 and things like that. And I'm like, oh man, that looks pretty cool. And then really, there wasn't much information after that. And then his wife Susie posted on her page that these were coming. And I'm like, oh, Suze, I got to get one of those. That is so cool. So awesome. I know they're going to be affordable because I can look at it and see that, being a smaller, more diminutive style of his ATCF. And I was blown away when she sent me this one. It's funny because the one that I chose is actually the exact same one that she's been EDCing for like a year and a half, however long this has been in development, a little over a year and a half. And it's funny because when I got my ProTech ATCF, the one that I wanted was the first run, which was the tuxedo with the stonewash blade, and that also was the one that she was carrying. Bob had started carrying the carbon fiber version that came out just a little bit later. So it's funny that she and I have very similar tastes. So I'm showing you the packaging for two reasons. Number one, so that we can all get a good laugh at this. Yes, there is a spelling error. They misspelled his name on his own product. That has been corrected, but the very first batch of these that are going out, they're going to say Terzuola.net instead of Terzuola, which is UOLA. So that's kind of neat, and that's, I think, in my mind, is going to make this a little bit of a collector's item, at least for hardcore Terzuola collectors. Anyway, it's kind of funny. And I'm sure that his entire life, his name has been misspelled in every number of ways. The other reason is to show you what the initial run packaging is going to look like, because only the initial run is going to have this packaging. From the second run forward, they're going to be in nicer boxes. There's going to be more goodies that go with them and stuff like that. So this is just to kind of show you, since this video will live forever as long as YouTube is online, that this is how they used to come. You could show your children and your grandchildren. I don't know. It is marked Natural G10 Nitro V Black. So let's get this open. I kind of tore in. Oh, I finally tore the tab off. The first time I went to open it, I was so excited. I tore the tab mostly off, and now it's all the way off. So there goes my collector value. And there is Bob's logo here on the... I wanted to say silicone, not silicone, microfiber bag. And ta-da! There she is. I love this color combo. I love Jade G10, Natural G10, up against black. I think it's a really good combination. There's something about the Natural G10 up against silver tones like satin blades or stonewash blades or something that it just doesn't click with me for some reason. But against black, especially if there's a liner or a scale underneath it, or a frame underneath it, I should say, that shows black, and it kind of darkens it through the scale because it's very translucent. It is semi-opaque. And I really like the look of the black kind of coming through it and darkening it just a little bit. So let's get that bad boy open. Let you see the action real quick before I get into the specs. Yes, she is a teeny tiny little girl, but it's still the ATCF. It is still that signature design. You still got the same thumb ramp. You still have the same blade shape. You have the same handle shape. Obviously different clip. Everything about this is Terzuola, except for how they spelled it on the box. I'm sorry, I just find that amusing that he's literally a living legend, and they've had contract with him for a while, and they somehow screwed it up. Anyway, so here it is, the Terzuola ATCF Lite. Light does not refer really that much to the weight, but mainly how thin, how slim everything is, which does, of course, reduce the weight. Why am I harping on the weight? You'll find out in just a second. They are distributing now, so they should be available at retailers like Blade HQ very, very shortly after I upload this video. So I don't know exactly when, but I know the distributor has them, and they're sending them out now to the retailers. I know for a fact also that Blade HQ will have some. I confirmed that with Suze, so that will be happening. And these are under $100. Where's my little kapow, bow, bow? Under $100. I don't believe that there's ever been a Terzuola design under $100. I know he's made some very inexpensive production collaborations in the past, but I don't believe they've gone under $100. If they have, I'm sorry, my mistake. I can't know every knife as it comes out, but this, to my knowledge, is the absolute least expensive way to get into that logo right there. So I think that's pretty cool. And there are a number of variations available. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move this out of the way and pop up that little round robin image. And you could see the many, many flavors that are going to be available of this knife in the first run. Will there be other colors in future runs? I don't know. But that's what we know of for right now. And these are being made by We Knives. So, what are the specs? First off, it is a steel Linerlock. That's why I say it's not necessarily called the Lite for the lightweightness, because it's a steel Linerlock instead of titanium. Steel adds in a bit of heft. But because it's so slim, that reduces weight from a typical ATCF. So, I think it's still going to be lighter than if it was his standard thicknesses and then made in titanium. So even though steel is heavier, everything's much, much slimmer, including the blade. So that might make it a little bit lighter. This particular variation is the black wash. You may not be able to see that all that clearly. Come on, focus. Seriously? There we go. Now you can see it. So it is a black wash blade. Black pivot. Black steel liners, black pocket clip, and then the natural, or as I like to call it, Jade G10 scales. You have a 1/4 length back spacer that incorporates a hidden lanyard post. I love that because, especially on a knife this size, a lot of people I think are going to opt to use a lanyard, but for those that don't, you don't have an unsightly hole or slot or anything else that detracts away from either side of the knife. So you just have that little hidden lanyard post. Brilliantly done. I love that. Your overall length is 6 3/4 inches. So that's going to be very easy to pocket. You've got a blade length of 3 inches. Blade thickness of about 100 thousandths thick. That's very, 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 very slim. Extraordinarily slim. And he chose Nitro V for the blade material. And my bad for not getting the specs up here. So boom, here they are. I love Nitro V. Think of Nitro V, as I mentioned before, as AEBL, but on steroids. So you have fantastic stainless properties of the corrosion resistance and stain resistance. And the Nitro V can be taken down to the absolute thinnest possible edges. And it reduces chipping and rolling a little bit more than other steels that go down that thin. but it is a steel that can go down thinner than most other stainless steels. It is a very, very, very good steel. I use it. The first 150 or so Hellraisers that I made were all Nitro V. I've made quite a few knives in Nitro V, and I use AEBL for the chef knives that I make. So it is a steel that I absolutely love. Nitro V needs to be cryo quenched as well, so you're getting a much more involved heat treat process when you're buying into Nitro V, and oddly enough, it's really not that expensive of a steel. Working with it again, because you're doing the cryo and everything, it could get a little bit costly on the retail end of things when the knife is finished. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to sidetrack about Nitro V, but it is a steel that I truly love, and one that we don't hear about very often in production folders, so I was kind of surprised. And you have a reversible pocket clip, which I think was neat because of the way they did it, you really don't see it. There's nothing visible on this side. And that's one of the things that I don't like about reversible pocket clips. I don't like that it leaves a hole or some other bullshit on the show side. This was done brilliantly. I'll show it to you close up in a moment. You have a flat pivot face with the laser engraved Terzuola logo, and it is a bearing style pivot, so you're going to get a fast, smooth action. Let's go ahead and talk about that reversible pocket clip now. So the way it's been done, you see how the clip comes up and over and goes in between the back spacer and the steel liner. It's also notched out the same way back here. Now, I don't find that to be unsightly back here. It's better than being a huge cutout, and there's a little notch there because the clip has to come over. But there's no big hole that requires like a filler tab or any goofy shit like that. There's no big square pocket cutout in a major part of the scale. It doesn't detract away from the looks of the knife at all. So I'm very happy with the way that was done. The knife, for such a small knife, is actually really comfortable in the hands. I like this. As far as the way that it feels, I like it a lot. And yeah, if you hold that lock bar down, it will come down and nick you on the back of the thumb. The lock bar pressure is a little bit stronger than I would prefer, and that prevents it from being a true drop-free. As you can see, it is very, very smooth. But you got to do the shaky thing because the lock bar tension is just a little bit too much. Obviously, if you handle one of Bob's customs, it's not like that. He's tuning that lock bar very specifically to allow for a nice, smooth, clean action. But because this is steel, it's not as springy as titanium. So if it's bent to one way or the other so much, it tends to stay in that direction or only come back a little bit. Whereas titanium, you can bend it and it comes right back to where it was. It has a springiness to it that steel does not. So that's just part of life with steel liners. But if you go back 20 years, 25 years, 30, 40 years, into folding knives that were liner locks, they started out as steel. They didn't start out in titanium. And there are still some custom makers that use steel for their liner locks. Obviously that's an antiquated way of doing things in the high-end custom world. But you'll also see this a lot in knives that are priced between, let's say, $30 and $120, $130, somewhere around there. You'll see predominantly liner locks being made of steel because titanium is much more expensive to purchase. It is more difficult to work with. There are more hazards working with it. So, there's that as well. It could start fires very easily because the sparks that come off the hot titanium, if you allow dust to collect and a spark hits that dust, it can catch on fire instantly. And by the way, it can do that on your body as well. You can get, that dust build up while you're grinding, then all of a sudden a spark hits that, your friggin' arm's on fire. That's not fun either. I apologize for how that looks. I had a sunburn about 10 days ago, and now I am peeling all new skin. I'm going to be fresh and new. So, what have I not talked about yet? Why did Bob go to We Knives? There's going to be that question. People are going to go, well, I really wish, being Bob Terzuola, I really wish it was made in the U.S. As I was told, and I talked to them about this, Bob put out a call to U.S. OEMs, to anybody that would listen, to make this knife. And not a single one of them could produce in the quantity that he needed. He realized the successes of all his lower priced production knives, how quickly they sold out, how many thousands and thousands and thousands they went through. And he didn't want to have it where not enough were available. He wants to satisfy his customers right away. He doesn't want to tell them, okay, yeah, well, all these sold out. Yeah, I'll have some more in a few months. No, he wants to put out as many as humanly possible. So we was the only one that stepped up and went, yep, we can manufacture in the quantities that you require. Now, he didn't mention, and his wife didn't mention anything about costs, but it's my assumption that the move to We Knives allowed the retail price to be a lot lower as well. And I think that's why you're seeing a sub $100 price. I think if this were made in the U.S., you'd be paying. It's generally, I'm not even gonna venture a guess. It would be more expensive if this were 100% made in the U.S. So if it bothers you that it's made by We Knives, if it bothers you that it was made in China, okay, that's all I can tell you. Good for you. You don't need to go ranting down in the comments below about how you only buy things, that's made in America, and, my kids were born in America, so should my cutlery. No, nobody cares. You do you, and if all you buy is U.S. made products, then good on you, man. There's nothing wrong with making that choice at all. Enjoy it. But you don't need to give everybody shit on every post, on every video, on everything on the internet where it's not made in the U.S. We don't care. Hey, look at your shoes. Probably everything that you own made in China. Your television, your home air conditioner. Yes, over 80% of air conditioners for homes in the United States were made in China. There are things you can't avoid, and you're like, oh, but if I have a choice in it, yeah, great. You have a choice in it. Don't buy this knife. And I don't think Bob is going to lose any sleep over it. What he wants to do is offer his customers the highest possible quality, have actual availability, and reduce the prices as much as possible. Because, listen, if you really want a Terzuola that bad, go visit him at a show, pay $2,500 minimum for one of his customs, and you've got a 100% handmade custom by Bob, made in the USA. Maybe he'll even give you a little USA sticker to slap on the bumper of your pickup truck that 30% of the parts were made in China. You do you. That's totally fine. You can buy a ProTech ATCF, which will run you just around $500. Especially for the newer ones, and some are up over $1,500 with the engraved ones. And those are all made in the U.S. You have options. He is giving you options. And this is the option, A, for people that don't want to spend that kind of money or can't spend that kind of money. B, for somebody that just wants to beat their knife off, to beat their knife around and not feel guilty. Am I going to run around with a $3,000 ATCF or Eagle Rock or whatever and just go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use it, but I'm not going to abuse it. This I can abuse, I can beat the living hell out of, and I can turn around for under $100 and buy another one. And that's the beauty of it. And C, I know there was a C, I know there was a third thing that I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was. So C is I have early onset Alzheimer's. Let's get some weight on this, shall we? Because we've been talking about the steel liners. We've been talking about how slim it is. Bob, by the way, this does reverse flick because you have this large notch. I don't know if it thumb flicks. Let's see. It'll thumb flick. Will it slow roll? Oh, it does. It's got a good detent for everything. So for you reverse flickers out there, look, it reverse flicks wonderfully. So you don't have to use the flipper tab if you don't want to. So we've been talking a lot about the fact that it's steel liners. Bob has made custom ATCFs in this size, but never as slim as this. That I have verified. I did ask that specifically. This is the thinnest ATCF in existence. Bob is beginning to experiment with his customs now with some slimmer materials, but he still has not made an ATCF this slim. So if you want the slimmest, lightest ATCF, this is absolutely it. That's why it's called the ATCF Lite. All right, what's the weight? It's 2.9 ounces. Let's put that into perspective for you. You guys have seen me talk a lot about the Avian Knives Atlas and the brilliant, ingenious design that this is with the toolless takedown system that's pretty much invisible. And this, one of the things I love about it is how light it is. 2.5 ounces, and that's only 2.9 with steel liners instead of being an all titanium frame lock. Let's put it further into perspective. The Nimble, 3.7 ounces. We all look at this as a great option for a lightweight carry, and it's significantly heavy. Well, I don't say significantly, but it is heavier. Okay, again, 2.9 ounces. Penguin, 3.2. Vero Engineering Mini Synapse, 2.8. That's the only thing on this table that's lighter, and it's only that much lighter. So yeah, this is going to be a great hot day summer carry. Let's get some size comparisons out here. It is small, but it is not, well, I guess it is kind of tiny. There it is, butt to butt with the QSP Penguin, which is extraordinarily popular. It's just a tiny bit smaller than the QSP Penguin. Butt to butt with the Mini Synapse. It is only a tiny, tiny touch larger. I mean, only just the tiniest bit larger. So if you have a Mini Synapse, you know just about what size this is going to be. If you have a regular Synapse, this will be a little bit smaller. Up against the EMP EDC Nimble. Virtually identical, only a tiny, tiny touch smaller. And that's really all I'm going to do as far as size comparisons go. And let's demonstrate how thin this is as well. Let's stand up. Maybe it'll stand up that way. Yeah, it'll stand up that way. So, holy frijoles! Man, look at that. That is really, 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 really slim. Here it is up against the Penguin. So yeah, man, she's a skinny girl. Yeah. Let's do something silly. You know what? I want to see something here, just for giggles. The most ridiculous knife that exists. That blade is 400 thousandths of an inch thick. Let's see what happens here. Yep, I can drop the entire knife, except for the pocket clip, into this frame lock. So, and yeah, I know a lot of you guys are still waiting for that pre-order to come to fruition. I think if you're only a few weeks away, as of right now, this is still the one and only in existence. That is it, one of one. And this will be the last time you see it like this, by the way. I am sending it out tonight to my friends over at Fanatic Edge, because we're gonna do something nutty, something crazy all over this thing. But yeah, the most ridiculous, dumbest thing in the world, and that's exactly why I love it. Same reason you would buy a DeLorean. It is the dumbest, slowest, worst car probably it's ever been made, but it's cool, man. Yeah, it's cool. If somebody said, hey, I got a good deal on it, I would buy it. That's how dumb I am. All right, so let's take again another close look at this all the way around before we sign off. There is your Terzuola clip, properly spelled. There's that natural G10, the Jade G10. Marking of Nitro V, but no other markings on the blade. I love that. A very, very clean blade. Here is your lockup. I know it's a little dark in there with everything being black, but there's your lockup. There's your back spacer. There's your hidden lanyard post. reversible clip. That wonderful thumb ramp signature on the ATCF. Really good jimping, by the way. I guess I haven't played with the jimping before, but jimping is, look at that. It pulls the nail, or pulls the thumb skin right off the nail. Very nice. And mine isn't broken in, obviously. I haven't had it all that long, but I think over time it's going to get even looser. But yeah, you got a little bit of a little bit of a stiff lock bar on there, or a stiff liner lock, I should say. I'm so used to saying lock bar tension because I'm always talking about frame locks. So my apologies if that's what I was saying earlier. So your liner is a little bit strong, pushing against that detent ball, but it's still, you can still feel how smooth it is. It really is wonderful. So again, if you're looking for a Terzuola design, you want to spend as little as possible. You want to be able to beat it up without any guilt. And if you want what I think is really a really cool size, I love how slim it is. I love how small it is. I love the weight of it. It's EDC perfect. It is a really great size. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you handed this to another knife collector that didn't know it existed, and they played with it, and even if they didn't notice that it said Terzuola on it, and they were just playing with it, and they were flipping it, and they were feeling it, I don't think that they would be able to tell it that it's an under $100 knife. I think they would think it's probably around $150 to $200, and that's only because it's steel liners. They'll feel the heft and go, okay, those aren't titanium, that's steel. But aside from that, they're not going to believe it's so wildly inexpensive. And we all love that, right? We all love a good value that doesn't scream, hey, I'm a low-priced alternative. I'm a value. That thing actually reverse flicks way better than I expected it to. So, yeah, for those of you that are addicted to the reverse flick, there you go. It does that as well. So, handsome design, nice and slim, great color combinations from a hell of a great guy and a living legend. And that's it, ATCF Lite. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will do my best to get back out here. I know a lot of people have been bugging me. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to bang into this. About doing this next video because I put a teaser up on my channel. Yes, you will be seeing this full custom galleon very shortly. The thing is, I don't want to rush this video. This is such an incredibly special knife that I really want to take my time and bring it out here in the way that I want to bring it out. So, plus, I'll be honest with you, I'm enjoying carrying it and playing with it. So, let me do that for a while, okay? Just get off my back about it, all right? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next video.